So ADA's been in a correction over the past couple of weeks, and I mentioned in my previous update that I was tracking a WXY structure, and there was potential for this Y wave to tap into this region between 73.89 cents to 77.76 cents. So here you can see that we ended up reaching this level at 78.18 cents, which just about falls short of this region that I talked about. And despite that being the case, it's very much possible that we ended up completing this corrective move to the downside and we get to see that reversal to the upside that we are all waiting for. And for that to be the case, what I'm looking at for is for a 5-wave structure to form within this recent move to the upside. So essentially what we need is for this here to be the wave 1 and for this move to the downside to be the wave 2. And then we see a wave 3, 4 and 5 play out. And so this wave 3 as a minimum requirement will have to reach the 1.618 level. So if I bring in the Fib tool and bring that down to 81.43 cents. And so the next key target really for ADA would be this level here at 89.35 cents. If we retrace towards this level, that would then trigger a 5-wave structure. And it's then possible that we are now on an uptrend as opposed to a downtrend. And if we manage to get rejected within this sell order block, and as you can see, we're currently trading within this sell order block, then it's possible that instead what we ended up having forming was a WXY structure, and we had a bigger WXY structure that formed, where this structure here, the WXY structure, would then complete the Y wave, and then we get to see that final push to the downside where we then potentially tap into this region. And for that to be the case, this Y wave would then be made up of a bigger WXY structure. But again, for now, what I am looking at for is for a 5-wave structure to form within this recent move to the upside. And so what I'll do is I'll drop down to the hourly chart and check to see what's taken place within this recent move. And just looking at this here, it looks like we did have an impulsive move that played out. Yeah, where this here was the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and the wave 5. So what I'll do is check to see if this wave 3 met the minimum requirement. So if I bring in the Fib tool and bring that down to 80.46 cents. So you can see that the 1.618 level sits at 83.1 cents. And here we ended up reaching 83.08 cents. And here we ended up reaching the 1.618 level at 83.1 cents. And so yeah, it looks like the third wave topped off here, and then we had the wave 4 that played out where it bottomed out at 82.66 cents, and then we had this explosive wave 5 that played out where we ended up reaching 85 cents. And so because this move to the upside was made up of 5 waves, that means that the next move to the upside is going to have to be made up of 5 waves. And so if I zoom in, we could have one of two structures where we had a short wave 1 that played out and then a wave 2, and then an explosive wave 3, a wave 4 or a wave 5. Or alternatively, this could be the wave 3 and we could have the wave 4 and the wave 5 play out. And the flip side to that could be that this here is the wave 1 and this is wave 2, and then we see the wave 3, 4 and 5 play out, which is what I'm looking at for right now. And so again, if I was to bring in the Fib tool and bring that down to 82.3 cents. So you can see that we ended up exceeding the 1.618 level. And so yeah, it is possible actually that we ended up completing the third wave over here, and we have the wave 4 and we have the 5th wave that's playing out. Like so. And so what I'll do is I'll drop down to the minute chart just to see what's taking place within this move to the downside. And so yeah, here it looks like we had a corrective move that played out. And so if I mark this level out here, I'm assuming that we ended up breaching past this level. And so if I zoom in, yeah, you can see that we ended up breaching past this level. And as a result, that discounts a 5-wave structure from forming, meaning that we're not bearish, and instead this is just a corrective move to the downside, and we could see another push to the upside where we breach past this level. And so in essence, what we had forming was a WXY structure as opposed to a 5-wave move. And so for example, if you had a 5-wave structure that formed like so, this wave 4 cannot breach past the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. But in this case it does, hence why we had a corrector move that played out as opposed to a 5-wave structure. So just to confirm, if I bring in the fib tool and bring this to 86.89 cents, and yeah, you can see that we ended up tapping into the typical range for the Y wave, which is anywhere between 1 to 1.236. As you can see, and since then we've been on an uptrend where we, I believe, breached past the local top. Yeah, so you can see that we ended up breaching past this level here, which confirmed that we are on an uptrend. And so it's very much possible that we breach past this level here. And so the next key target for ADA would be the 1.226 to 1.618 level of this wave structure here. So in the short term, what I'm looking at for is for ADA to reach anywhere between 87.99 cents to 88.75 cents to complete this fifth wave. And if I zoom out, what I'll be looking at for is, in fact, it's very much possible that this could be a WXY structure where the W wave will be made up of 5 waves and the Y wave would be made up of 5 waves also. So very quick, if I bring in the fib tool and bring this to 81.43 cents. And so we have tapped into that region between 1 to 1.226. Yeah, this level here would determine if whether or not we are bullish or bearish. If we get rejected within this region or this region, then we had a double XY structure that will end up forming. And if we exceed this region and retrace towards the 1.6 level, then what we'll have forming is a 5-wave structure to the upside, which will then confirm that we are bullish, and it's very much possible that we ended up bottoming out at this level. And you can see that on the hourly chart, we were within oversold conditions, and now the bulls are gaining that momentum, and so it's very much possible that we then tap into this range. And if I go back to the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are within the overbought conditions. And so, yeah, it's very much possible that the bulls are now slowly starting to lose that momentum. And if that's the case, then what we could have forming is a double XY structure as opposed to a 5-wave move to the upside. And if I go on 8 hour quickly, again, we are within the overbought conditions. And on the daily chart, we've tapped into the overbought conditions. And so, yeah, we need further confirmation that we are either bullish or bearish. The bullish confirmation that we need is for ADA to retrace towards this level here at 89.35 cents. That'll then trigger a 5-wave structure, which would then mean that we are on an uptrend. However, if we get rejected within this region, then it's very much possible that instead what we ended up having was a WXY structure that formed, and we could see a final push to the downside where we then tap into this region, and then shortly after we could then see a reversal to the upside that we are all looking for. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. And so, yeah, that's just my update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.